Hello. First of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Energy Secretary who's responsible for the country infrastructure, and I'm the person who came up with the idea for this dam. You know, our country is deadly of energy, and we have to find a way to solve the problem. And after like talking and do the research, there's a lot of possible option, but I think hydroelectric power is the best option because it's clean, it's green, and it's renewable. And this project has been approved by the government, and the project manager will be the representative for the construction and manage the project will be on time. So to build it dam, we decided to make it bigger 6 times than the Hoover Dam in the United States. So this negotiation to like communicate with you guys about like certify your land to build a dam. So this is the purpose of this negotiation today. So, but I want to say like we are government, we will like eventually carry out this plan anyway. But the whole point of this negotiation is to like cooperative environment and make sure this smooth transition.
Okay, that's good story. So, if we can know more about the project
Sure.
itself.
I can introduce myself as well. Hi, I'm the project manager for this dam project. I'll be the representative to all the questions or concerns you may have in building this dam. I will be on site every day supervising the construction of the dam. Hopefully everything goes off smoothly. And I'm also here to communicate relations with the local citizens, which you all, I believe, represent. So if there are any questions or concerns, please do let me know, and we'll try to make it work.
And I'm the Minister of Interior, and we will collaborate together to make this project moving forward and efficiently taking care about all the community and also the ecological impact to reduce the waste and the risk related to this project. So for any infrastructure and question about the solution we thought for the people living in the area, you can also ask me.
Okay, I'm the mayor of the area, Sanchonburg. Here, my colleagues also, we are really interested to know more about the dam itself because we see that as a good idea for the country and it's gonna provide a lot of benefit, like a future for the country itself. But we still have some issue like about people because it's gonna affect a lot of people, like you know, around 43 million people around the area, and how you gonna find a solution for that. And here also, my colleague gonna talk about her issues as well.
Yes, sure. I am the director of the Stationian National Heritage Foundation, which is dedicated to preserving the culture and history of the country. So my biggest concern with the project, I do agree it's a great project for the country, but my biggest concern is that building the dam requires flooding thousands of archaeological sites where the Ba people or ancients lived. And I think that would make that would have a huge impact in the culture and the history of the people, which the people care a lot about. And though the same archaeological site is also it's also linked to the tourism of the site of the country, so that would have a huge impact on that too. And I just want to know if you guys have any assessments or any plans for those things, because that's what concerns me the most.
I am the executive director of the Tree Huggers International. I'm here as a middle pros and cons for the people of Stationian, and I mainly am concerned with the earth-friendly causes and the wildlife conservation that's very well known and influential to our country. And we, as we've discussed, we want to know more details on the plan. We're very curious as to know if you guys have done any assessments your dam is going to take about 17 years to construct, give or take, so we wanna know if you have any plans for the people as far as like relocation and any relief efforts and concerns, because they're already you're tapping a very sensitive area and they're already below poverty line, so we need to know there's tourism attached to this country, so we also are concerned knowing if you guys have any extraction plans, if you have any employment plans for them. And then of course with the wildlife and stuff, that again is influential to our country. People do travel to see the animals and stuff that we have in the neighboring land, so we also wanna know if you have any plans for that.
So first of all, I understand your drawback, and like we are consider like all the disadvantages of this, but however, like the dam will be like 6 times bigger than the Hoover Dam, and you know like 6 times is the advantage of 6 times bigger than this will be a lot. Like building a dam to provide the power around 50 million people who are living below poverty, and the rural area have to access the electricity, and like which generate the renewable energy for 70 of country needs, and with the maximum capacity and the size of the project and the final dam would be done to ensure the maximum power for 50 to 100 years of our country. So I think like our advantages is outweigh the drawback of the project.
I see that, but also according to research, did some research about the dam and how the country is doing the dam. So as we see here in our research, is nothing clear about the duration. You said 17 years, but still the other countries doing it, and it's gonna take more than 17 years. And also nothing clear about the budget, and we're gonna handle some issue with the season stuff. Like there's a lot of things you might concern, and it's not really clear here. But social media as well, how you're gonna communicate with people, tell them what's gonna happen here, what's the next step. Could you explain that please? Because I'm really curious about my people. There's a lot of people living around. If you're gonna start building the dam, they're gonna affect their life, the land, the farmers, you know. I understand that will generate power for 50 million, like 70% of the country, but still you can't kill people or like just put them away to provide a good life for other citizens, right? They're all citizens, they are human, right?
Yes. We do understand your concerns and we take you very seriously. This is why we have called in this panel to discuss and communicate what the next steps and what the actions are in this project. And we hope from your side as well to help us make this a success. Just quickly coming to your point with the employment and stuff, of course, we understand that this is a great project for the region and we don't want the success of the country to go by side from your region. So of course, as far as employment works, we are happy to employ local workers. We just have to find out right now to what extent their skills are helpful for this project. You must understand that of course there will be outside workers as well that have technical skills in specific positions, but I'm very sure we can find some further employment for more labor-intensive works perhaps that can be happily taken by your people. Going to your point, we're not here to kill anyone, so we're not going to flood the region without telling anyone. This is a long process, you know yourself, it's about 17 years projected. We hope to fulfill this project even faster. The Hoover Dam was projected 7 years, it was done in 5 years. However, as it stands from today, we will take these 17 years. It is a long-term investment. However, as it does provide most electricity for country for the years to come, for decades to come, it is essential that this project will be a success. Concerning a little more about the project timeline, of course, initially we have to prepare the site, clear all the forest where the dam is going to be built. However, you have to understand building a dam is more of a two-component thing. The first one is the actual dam, the concrete, steel-enforced concrete that's being built as a wall to hold back the water. And the second part, the second phase of this construction, will then be slowly filling the region with water that is being held by the dam. Now, if we start this project, it will take projected 14 years for the actual wall to be built. In those 14 years, we have put in place a relocation, a construction plan of how to move your citizens, our citizens, your regional people, to different places along the mountainside to make it as smooth as a transition as possible. So there is much time for movement, for planning, for special requests, anything that concerns you, which you would like us to consider. And then it should take another 3 years for the water to slowly fill. The water is all taken from the current river, so as fast as the river flows, as fast the basin of the dam will be filled. So it's also a long-term project. So there's no big flood that will flush out all the people or animals. So there's a slow process that will allow everyone, humans and nature, to adapt to these changes.
Yeah, to add to that, in our project, and as he stated, people comes first, and we want to take care of our people and to grow together as a country to improve everyone economics and lifestyle. So meanwhile we will build the wall to contain the water. We will focus on moving people and locating in the mountain where they will be able to continue their life and to have also an historical site when we want to build all the ancient archaeological items we are able to move, to make a museum and to shift the tourism just to another place where anyway the tradition will continue. So we want to take care about the people, we want to take care about our customs and our history, and we want to take care also about the ecological side. I mean, this kind of way is the greenest one to produce more energy for everyone. But at the same time, we want to save most of the animals that are staying in that area by moving them to another safe place. For instance, we have this really rare river dolphin that we are planning to move to another river to guarantee they will not extinct. So we are taking care of all the issue that you are concerned about, and we would like to bring and move together on this project to do a better future for our country.
I appreciate your concern about the citizen, but to clarify here more, the land that you said you are offering to relocate the people and remove them. So can you be more specific with the details, like how many square meter for the people? Because you're gonna take out 600 square meters from the land and towns around, like people living and working in, and also like if there's a budget, how you gonna fund the people there to start over and live their own life? Maybe you're gonna, I don't know if you planning to put them like different areas or like in one area. You said the mountain, but you know, where is in the mountain?
Yeah, the mountain sides as a distribution similar to that one where actually people are located. It's just different for the geographics of the place. So it will not be more flat, but there will be several distribution of little cities around the mountain. So this is the main idea about the sites. And for the cost, this will be on charge of the government, and we will also enable people to have tax deduction for the length of the relocation. So we want to make it safer and at the same time economically convenient for the person living and being able to relocate without additional cost on their shoulder. and instead also giving them tax benefit to be able to build again their own and their life.
So because we have these solutions, so that's why I wanna build a dam with 6 times larger than the Hoover, because like we need that larger dam to provide enough the energy for the whole country in the future. So that's why I need to take all of the land of your village to do that. So that's why we have the solution for you too.
I'm going to touch on a few points that you guys said, just to kind of tie it back in, because we are open and we do agree with it is a renewable energy source. We like the fact that it's hydroelectric, and we like the fact that you're going to bring power to so many people down the line. However, the reason why we are asking for specifics is because there were a lack of any information that was coming across on our point as the concerning parties. He is the mayor, so as far as the people goes, he is the mayor of the main area that you're impacting. There are other mayors in neighboring areas. So if you're relocating his people, we're curious as to know, one, if you've communicated with other local governments, other mayors of the surrounding areas, because how are the people going to get in contact? They're different customs. Are they going to like each other? You're not. It's very hard to move a certain group of people and just expect them to get along. So we want to know if any community efforts have been done on that social level. Also, with the time of the project, I understand that it is 6 times larger than the Hoover Dam, but that also means that it will take longer. The Hoover Dam you mentioned was completed faster in 5 years, but actually it was not. The project, the contractors were given 7 years. They did finish it in 5 years, but it also took an additional 5 years for all of the features to be added, and it took 125 years for the concrete to cure, which goes longer than your success of the next 50 to 100 years for the country to be good. Something 6 times larger than that means that it will go past the 17 years. So that brings you back to the archaeological sites. How fast is that gonna happen? Do you have a plan for, is the museum and stuff happening that immediately as you're building this wall going up? With the river dolphin, does that mean that did you check out the water and see that is that dolphin going to be okay if you just move it from one side of the river to the other side? There is going to be, we assume this is a warm area, it has rain and stuff like that or whatever. Did you take all that into consideration in your plan? And then back to the people again, you mentioned a tax cut, but is that on the annual level? Are you guys interested in just giving the people a lump sum in the beginning for relocation and relief efforts? Or will it be this annual kind of check that they get where they can do it for this long period of time? Because we do have to take into consideration that this project most likely is going to affect a higher number of people than is projected and also take longer than is projected.
Along with what she said and what also he said, I want more details about the ideas that you guys have to solve these concerns. So my main concern with I love the idea of the museum. I think that is a great idea to preserve the history and the culture of the people. But I just want to know a little bit more about your plan on how to make that happen, because excavation is a very intense and it requires a lot of scientific research, it requires a lot of machinery, a lot of people, and to first dig a place, it takes a lot into it, and it takes a lot of funding, and it takes a lot of time. So I love the idea of building the museum, but behind building the museum, we have to make sure we excavate the place properly, and we get all the knowledge that we can get from that site. So I want to know if you guys have a funding prepared for the excavation, if you plan on building the museum as you do the excavation, and how detailed is your plan for preserving the culture and the history that is important, but not only to me, to all the citizens of Skowronie.
Yeah, wonderful.
Quick. It was our understanding that he is the mayor who represents the entire region, and we hope that you will communicate whatever has been said here further to the specific locations. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have voted for me, so I'm gonna present and have a good influence of all
All right.
the towns.
Yeah,
so.
we're happy to have you here. Thank you for that. Both of you, we can assure you that our numbers are quite precise. We have done very much data gathering in the past, so you can take our word for the accuracy of these numbers. We have, of course, we will not state anything that is not truly, because it is in our best interest for this project to go as smoothly as possible and as timely as possible. Every day means more costs, so of course we will keep as close to the time frame we have given as possible. Would you like to?
Yeah, we invited all of you to get all the potential sources to achieve this project in the best potential way. Starting from your concern, we are planning to fund this activity through the featuring of the central government. That will give to us the machinery and archaeological sources needed to do it in the best possible way. Meanwhile, we will start to build the museum, but the first and main objective is to do the excavation properly and being able to relocate as most as possible. We will be able to. So it's in our interest to try to transport all the stuff that is feasible, transportable to the new museum. And based on the community concerned, we invited also the regional manager to be able to build a community plan featuring and exchanges to let the people moving, being embraced and accepted and helped by all the neighborhood into the country. So even if we know that it's difficult to move an entire city, an entire region to a new place, we want to use all the national pride and national spirit that this country has been built up. And finally, based on the check and the tax deduction, we are planning to do it annually. So until the project will be finished, the citizen will be enabled with this assistance. And I double checked the timing of the project, and I ensure that they have done a really, really good planning considering all the potential risk and project planning. So I double check his assumptions.
So, but in addition, like we have the government funding too, because like in the beginning we will like spend a lot of money for this dam, but when this dam completed, that it will be the biggest dam in the world. So that will be like one of the tourism spots for the government to take back the fund. So that's why we are willing to pay the fund from the beginning to build the dam. And to building a dam is required a lot of labor. So this is a job security for the village too, because it takes 17 years. So if the road take like this, the job of people to build a dam will be maintained to operate the dam. And additional, like the environment worker will be have like to work to make sure the dam will be safe and secure, so we will aim more job for the environment staff.
Yeah. Just want to check with my mayor. Are you okay with, or are you willing to take on the role of either aiding them with them coming with you, or you completely just communicating the relocation of the people with your surrounding people? Because they mentioned that you will have to talk to anyone else in other regions about your people being relocated. Are you okay with you being responsible for that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I can assure you I have a substantial budget at my disposal for any community relations. So everything concerning your relocation, your special requests, it can all be funded. You can trust me on that. It is sufficient to aid the development of your region, and you will not be placed at any disadvantage.
Okay, to clarify here, you didn't mention any fund to relocate the people. So you said there's a tax reduction, there's a mountain to recall the people. Did you prepare a fund like this kind of budget to relocate? Because the project is gonna be about 17 years, as you
Yes.
said. This 17 years, you're gonna like, you said you can't move the entire region like in one year, right? So how, like, what's your plan for that, and how we gonna, what's the process and the structure to?
Yes, so we have the plan. There are multiple options. We have to go one-on-one cases for each individual. However, there are the possibilities that several citizens in that region may take their house and relocate it as it is at a different spot. We have checked the constructions at the site, and many houses allow that. This is our priority, also because then no one actually has to leave their house because it all goes with them. Secondly, there are a couple of buildings and structures that may not be relocated. They would not survive a deconstruction and construction again. For them, we have put into place to build new housing at various locations, of which they are free to choose where to live in. These properties are currently being planned and will start construction as soon as the dam has been approved and starts its own construction. Having said that, this all will be paid by us. There are no additional costs to the individual citizens, and we hope that this will make everyone happy in that region.
Okay, and for the people who gonna lose their job, like, okay, the relocate the places is awesome, like you have really already good plan. So how about the people who's gonna lose their job? You know, for 17 years, they're gonna start all over again. Are you preparing to fund them or give them an extra credit or something? Because they need to start all over again looking for a job. Like, for example, the farmers who work in there, if they lose their land, and you put them in the mountain, you can't give them, like, be a farmer again, you know? So they need to start looking for a new job opportunity. Like, do you prepare a fund for that or not? Like extra credit, extra money?
I mean, of course, we hope that everyone can pursue their job as they're pursuing it at the moment at various locations. However, we do understand and we are aware that some jobs may not be conducted in the way that they are right now. For this, we have put into place a new tourism plan. Would you like to elaborate on that? We have understood that firstly, the dam itself, as being the largest in the world, would be a tourism attraction, and secondly, the entire lake and the structure surrounding the dam will attract lots of tourism from the inland and the outside nations.
Yeah, to add to that, we are going to build the biggest dam in the world, which will be a source of interest for the tourism. And we are building the Museum of the Ba people that is, right now, is attracting a lot of tourists and will be in a bigger building and more efficiently oriented. So that should bring additional source of tourism, and this will create job opportunity for the people who will not be able to continue their actual job. And in addition to this, we still have the potential job opportunity derived from the dam itself. And the people who will lose their job could be hired as officer and job employed into the dam. So those are the main three way of alternatives job that we can offer.
We do need security around the dam, 24/7 maintenance, and we are prepared to train the people accordingly to pursue one of these jobs, and we hope that this is to the standard of the citizens of the region.
Yeah, but most of the jobs you're talking about is gonna happen after 17 years, after you start building the museum, after you build the dam, right? And within that 17 years will be a job gap, right? And
That is true, there will be a short-term job gap, which we hope that our fund will cover for. As said before, during the construction of the actual dam wall, everyone is free to pursue their job as they have before. There will be, while the water is rising in the actual basin, there will be a shortage and a short-term loss of job opportunities. However, we hope that our fund put into place will cover over this period of time. This time will also be used to re-educate, train people for the jobs to come.
My assumption here is that there will be, not everything, we hope that everything does happen well, but there will be some mishaps along the way. And of course, even to begin building that wall, you will have to touch the people first to get them out of that area. So although there is, this gap in this planning period, I think the main goal we're getting at is that you have, or we're hoping that you have taken into consideration, especially the people, since that's the first impact. So your first impact is the people, the second impact is the land, and then the third impact you have is our wildlife. Are kind of hand in hand here. The reasoning why we're asking so many specific questions is because it sounds like a bit like there was no assessment. So with that, we're trying to get more details. The gap is happening at the same time. So if you guys are willing to even take into consideration or reassess some of the impacts, so we can kind of plan hand in hand how you're going to help with the jobs, or at least the relocation more immediate, sooner in the beginning, as soon as the dam construction begins. And then also with government funding, long term, the goal sounds, it sounds great, it sounds nice. Again, we're on the side to doing it. However, I think we're also curious to hear about the solar power fields that are being built at the same time. Those also are going to take a big chunk of the land. Are you planning on building them next to the land? Are they going to be in various regions around the country? Any details on that, because that's also going to impact all three of these points sooner than just the 17 years.
Like with the solar panel, like we should build it for the 17 years like of the dam, because but we are take the advantage of the dam is like outweigh the solar panel, because like it's not dependent on the weather. So because the solar panel is like much more expensive and depends on the weather condition, so that's why our main decision is just focus on the dam. Yeah, and the solar panel just the alternative solution for 17 years of building the dam, so we have enough energy for our citizen.
So are the solar panels a short-term solution as
Yes.
the dam is being built?
Yes.
Because that's not.
I mean, I wouldn't worry
Exactly.
so much about the solar panels.
Yeah.
We understand that this dam already is a big burden on your region, so
Mhm.
we do plan to construct these a little further away, that it is not of your real concern, these solar panels. Of course, we encourage people also in your region to install solar panels on their roofs, on their properties. However, we aim to make this a volunteer move and is free for everyone to decide for themselves if they want to build these on their own land or not.
I would love that to be an option, but if the people are already living below poverty line and you're asking them to relocate, I don't know where you expect for them to get the funds to get a solar panel to put on their roof. Also, I think that waiting for this to be a short-term solution, as one of the energy people on this side of for the people, it was discussed that it was going to be built alongside with your dam, so it's two solutions. Of something that you're building is 6 times larger than the Hoover Dam, that may or may not, it's definitely gonna take more time, 17 years, but that's your minimum aspect, like that's your minimum number, 17 years or more, and you're displacing these people and you're assuming for them to kind of take care of themselves during this, and they already barely have electricity, so we're just having this huge gap. As a government official, you have to kind of also look at what your people are about to go through the next 25 years and whether or not they're going to be on your side. His job is to communicate, but he needs all the details to communicate this. So he needs to know if they are going to relocate and you want them to look into alternative forms of energy such as solar panels and stuff that you may or may not be providing. He needs to know that information as well.
But like, do you communicate with the communities about their needs? Like, at least minimum, like, funded they want, or like something about their
I can
events?
do that. If you are proposing to ask my people how much they want, how much the fund
Yeah.
will be, yeah, I can ask them and give you a specific budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, and based on the people concerned, we will, once we have the approval, we will directly start to plan the relocation. And then, meanwhile, we will build the wall, but these two happenings will not be in contrast one to each other. We just start with the wall because we don't want to put anyone in risk. And the relocation will be done on government funding, and we understand the job gap and the problem of not being working during the relocation, but all the cost and the expenses related to this will be on charge of the government. So the citizen will not have to be scared about having enough fund to survive and to afford this relocation properly. So this will be our main concern.
Yeah, we are totally trust the government, and because it's not the only project they're doing for sure. So what our concern is, you provide funds, you provide lands, you provide everything we need, but the way you're gonna provide it, that's what we care about. Because I need, for example, you wanna relocate the people, I prefer to locate my people 2 or 3 years before you start even look at the site, because I need my people to be safe, right? For the fund, I need the people like secure and they have like 100% sure nothing affect them. You said a lot of good things for the tax eviction, build solar panels, give them fund, ask for a specific budget. Yeah, that's all helpful, but I need to be sure that I will need guarantee for my people how much, like not how much exactly, like how are you gonna provide this money? You're gonna provide it like every year, you're gonna provide it every month, because we all know that's government paid very slowly, right? Like it's not against the government, it's just very fact. It's about the government. They pay very slowly, and it's not like 100 million people. Like you're talking about so many people, right?
I would also like to add that there needs to be a bit of more clarity. So I think he's asking for very specific numbers, or at least ballpark figures, because it sounds like, well, can we just give you whatever budget we want and you're going to accept it? And it's like, of course not. We're asking you for the numbers and what you're thinking because you guys are the ones that have the budgets in your hand, or at least assume to have the budgets. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit and mention the solar power fields again, because you're saying in your debriefing here that you will also be funding, it's not in question that you will be funding the construction of very extensive power fields, solar power fields. So how many fields are you planning? Is it just one field? Is it 2? Is it 3? How much energy is that one solar power field going to give you? And where and how, those are also very important details, although they may not be happening during the 17-year construction of the dam, or even between the 2 to 3 years. That's a very important detail. He's asking for relocation before the construction of the dam to guarantee the safety of the people, which also will affect your museums and the stuff for the sites. So that flips back the question on you guys to see, do you have any ballpark figures? Do you have any more specifics that you would like to share for us so that everyone can go back to their respective parties and give the right information?
Yes,
Yes. Sorry. You
please.
probably understood that what we're looking for right now is numbers and specifics. I guess they explained some of the reasons why. I just feel like from the point of view of the culture and the history, the whole excavation depends on how much funding we have. So that would depend, the time of the excavation would depend on how much funding we have, so that the amount of knowledge we get from that site depends on how much funding we have. So it is important to me to understand how much we're willing to give, so I can understand if you really understand this concern, and if you really understand how important the culture and the history is. Because depending on how much funding you're willing to give, it depends on how much knowledge we're gonna be able to extract from that land.
Yeah, concerning about solar panels and all of that, let me tell you, it's none of your concern. We have everything put into place. The solar panels will not impact your region in any sense. We have it all under control concerning the budgets and everything. With the relocation and the site, we will take full control over that. It is nothing you actively have to be concerned of. We ensure you that it will be done, and it will be done correctly. And as far as I know, this is all you need to know.
I would like to know how the project manager of a dam is going to tell the environments person that it's none of her concern. You're not an expert in extracting archaeological sites or anything. Most likely our government will have to hire a third-party service to do that. Now if your extra budgeting is going to allow or help fund in collaboration with our government to extract such things, then you are now in conversation, but you are not going to be the overseer of that exact project that's being affected by your main goal, which is the dam. It is something that the dam is something that our government wants to do, and we understand that, how yet it is very clear in the information and all the stuff that the plan is not approved. And the goal here, as everyone said in the beginning, is that we want to collaborate and we want to come to one mutual agreement that satisfies all parties. And to do so, we're just asking for specifics and information regarding regarding your economy for the government. This is your tourism industry, this is your archaeological sites, and these are the people that help you even become a government here. So they're very important, along with your wildlife, who is just also in your area. All of that being said, it's really about, with that kind of energy, it's really about whether you want it to be peaceful or not. Because if you go ahead and you approve a plan without like asking your people or even having us on your side, it's going to be very difficult to do so. So we need to kind of backtrack that, and again, if this information means that you have to reassess some things and then we have to take a time of reassessment, then we can go ahead and do that and renegotiate. Or if you guys have any questions for us or any more specific that you'd like us to get, then you're open to ask those things as well. But there's a lot of third-party things that are going to have to happen involved.
Yeah, I understand your concerns, and that's the reason we want to take your perspective back and to close a deal together to do the common interest of the country, and to be able to build something that will be helpful for anyone in the country, based on the costs that there will be, which are anyway completely overcome by the benefit that the country will have. Based on the specific information, we can assure you that all the departure of archaeological and architecture from the government will straight collaborate with you, and you will have all the expertise on these items and the topic from the country to do the best that is possible. Of course, the extraction will not be conducted by the people who are aimed to do the dam. We will take care of the professionals that we will work appropriately in these items. You wanna add?
I mean, I was just wondering, because you're asking us for specifics all the time. Could you elaborate on what exactly your specifics are for this project?
Okay, well, you're building a dam in our area. You said it's gonna be 6 times larger than
Yes.
the Hoover Dam, which we know specifically was said to be completed faster than the projected time, but it was not. It took 5 years over the allotted time for the construction. We know that it was 125 years to cure, which is more than the 50 to 100 years that you gave us to say that it was going, our government was going, our economy was going to come back from taking on so many costs. It's 6 times larger, so we assume that all those numbers would be projected 6 times. The solar powered fields, I'm asking why or how many you have, because I know that one solar power farm only gives me 1 megawatt of energy. So I wanna know how many you want to build, because it doesn't seem like one will just be enough to come across the 18 terawatts that the dam will give me over the 17-year projected period. The archaeological sites, we know that it's very, very expensive to just take out one relic, so that is going to be a or you can go ahead.
Just to add to you, we know that it costs between $8,000 to $10,000 to just initiate an excavation. So that means in a place you have never digged before, so that means our situation. That means getting the machinery, the people, and some scientific researchers who understand how to do and what is important and what is great knowledge and what isn't when excavating. So just to begin the excavation, and then for each week of excavation, it takes around $5,000 to $8,000 more. Based on what we know from the site, that would probably be around a 6 months excavation. So that's the kind of budget you should have in mind. That's the kind of specifics I'm looking for, at least a 6 months excavation.
And then back towards the people, we know that relocating does come at a cost. We looked at similar projects, so with the Hoover Dam, with the Brazilian Dam, and with the dam that's in Congo, all similar kind of areas and with similar very, very expensive projects. We know that they all had to relocate millions of people, and it costed about $20,000 to $30,000 per household to be moved. We also know that in case of the Congo Dam, social and environmental impacts were not done, assessments were not done, it was not complete. We know that the Brazilian Dam did not be completed in the allotted time that it was supposed to be completed. We know that the government ended up canceling the project after over 10 years because the people were being drastically affected, and it was completely out of the initial projected impacts. Because there's so many examples of dams that have been completed but have cost more, and dams that have cost a lot but were not completed because the social and environmental impacts were so large, was the reason why we are asking you for so many specifics to know, again, how, if you're willing to do the extractions, are you willing to do the 6 month, are you willing to have the 6 month period of extractions and the cost that it's going to take for that? Are you willing to do relocation? Are you willing to do the relocation 2 to 3 years before the building of the dam to guarantee the safety of the people? If you're willing to talk about the environmental and the social effects, again, assessing those. If we're relocating a lot of our wildlife and stuff, are we relocating them to similar areas where they're going to be comfortable, and if anything, we can benefit. Instead of being endangered species, we can kind of have a theory in mind of how to help repopulate the species. Those kind of specifics are the ones that we're looking like for you guys.
I mean, this is also the reason why we have brought in this meeting, to get more feedback from your side, to have a greater understanding of how everything should be done from your perspective and how much you believe everything will cost. We do have our own numbers in place, however, we are happy to have this collaboration and to combine them. I believe that everything you have told us at this moment should not be of a big problem. We are very willing to be generous into making everything as comfortable as possible for both the human life, cultural site and wildlife around.
And in addition, like we did do the research about like compared to building a dam with other projects like solar panel to and wind energy because it's much more expensive than the dam, and the location we choose is like one of the rural area, so that's why we try to choose the location to not affect as many people in the country. So that's like the best option for us to choose this location to build a dam to not affect like more people than that.
And I understand your concern with similar project made in different countries, but I would like to remind you how much our country is efficient and the best in the world, and how much our president show how we can improve and how we can grow and how we can build a better country. We don't have problem about corruption. We have a big budget to use and to make this project happening, to do the best for our citizens. So don't be scared about similar project in different countries, and don't be scared about budgeting issues, because the government is ready to provide all the services and machinery and funds to do this project in the best way.
Okay, thank you. We gave examples because we were asked for specifics, in which of course we had. To kind of bring this all in, since you have all three agreed that they will be comforted in pretty much whatever they ask for, and the government's really willing to help out the people and the archaeological sites and the wildlife here. I just want to ask if you agree or disagree on the following points that we came across during the meeting. Beginning with extraction, the 6-month period with the budget that she is asking for, that she would budget that she would give you, is that something that you agree with or disagree with?
So a budget like that would be around $200,000, without taking into consideration things that can come up. So I am not doing the excavation. As you guys said, this is on you. As an expert and someone who is trying to preserve our culture and history, and as someone who knows how much our people care about this, I'm just here to give a suggestion on what I think would make the people comfortable. And having that, as she said, would just make things go smoothly. So I believe the budget would be necessary for a project like you guys are describing would be around $200,000.
Okay, about this point, we completely think that is something that we can achieve, and the 6-month excavation can be done, and we would like also to require your perspective during the work happening, and featuring with our worker to do the best for everything that belongs to our history. So
I'd be honored to supervise that.
this could be done.
And like any other requirements
Yeah,
that you
Are you done with
Yes.
your clip? Okay. The next one was the people relocation. It was asked if they could be relocated 2 to 3 years prior to the building of the dam with the additional fund for the relocation.
So the issue we have with that at the moment is that if we would like to start with the project as soon as possible, because it is an extensive project. It will take years. We cannot guarantee or ensure, or we cannot relocate people before the initial building of the dam wall. We have to see locally how to and where to build the houses and buildings for the relocation. So it has to go side by side, that while we are building the wall, we will also build the houses in which they can move into. If we build these houses first and then go to the wall, we will lose another 1 to 2 years, and we cannot allow that to happen.
So do you have a plan? For example, we have here 4.3 million people living in this region. Do you have a plan, like how many people can you relocate within 1 year? Or the fund that you can give them to start moving? Like for example, if you don't need to build the houses, you just give them fund to relocate themselves, right? You can, this is another solution.
Yes. So that was also our,
If the budget is not that big matter for you, as you said, right?
exactly, we're here to help everyone. And we believe that within the first 5 years, we can move the first people into their housing. And of course, we'll check every case individually. And if people are willing to just move immediately, there is a,
You're talking about
Yeah.
before the building the dam or after or while?
Like, we
While
will,
building the
While
dam.
while,
building the
like,
dam.
So you start
first
from
5
the,
years
the
from
wall.
starting build the dam.
and there is also, if people want to leave immediately and don't want to wait for their
Yeah.
homes to be rebuilt,
Mhm.
we can evaluate each house and each property on the local market price and give that as compensation in cash for the people that want to move immediately.
Yeah, and in addition to that, we believe that in the first year, we will be able to check all the situation from the different householder and understand their willingness. And we plan to do the execution of the relocation within the first 3 years. So at the end of the third years, we are planning to having completely relocated the people in the new places.
well, I prefer to like secure my people and more safety issue to start before building the dam because people need to prepare, need to looking for other property, need to like start preparing themselves to move, right? You're not moving like for 1 or 2 days, you're moving forever for good, right? So I prefer to be consider the issue before building the dam. And that will be a very important issue for me and for them.
But consider that that's why we decided to build the wall of the dam firstly, so that the situation will be secure and there will be no such danger of flooding the area.
So
So,
building the dam, the wall itself, you need 14 years, as you said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that enough time for people to resettle, relocate, and
Yes,
find a new
yes,
place?
but I think the major concern is that you will be using 200 tons of explosives and bringing in maximum concrete to build that wall. You're exploding in an area with, this is the region in which you're building the land, so this is the region in which all these people will be affected. He's asking for prior notice, as you said, that you do need to go back and assess the people. So he's asking for 2 to 3 years, at least a minimum of 2, to assess the people and see exactly how many people. It's going to come across very weird. Imagine being from the people's standpoint, it's going to come across very weird as you're building this wall, you're asking for their approval to do that mix. Like, it doesn't feel as a local as if you're asking for something. It feels like you're lying and taking away, and it's going to be a very mistrust between the people and the government and these new people that are inside of their land.
2 points also here. You mentioned also there's a mountain, so the lands I consider is already like provided, right? So, and if you look for the market price, while you're doing building the wall, the market price of the land will be way cheap.
I mean, no,
So
the
that's
market
not fair
price
for
will
them.
be frozen as of today before we release anything. So the current market price before anything, we realize that after we build it, it has no market price because it's gonna be flooded.
Mhm. And the mountain he mentioned that it's already ready people to move in. So now I think you're changing your words. You said,
So the
You
where
go
the
in.
wall is gonna be built, it's a very narrow place. So there are not immediately many people exactly on the building of the site. I understand that the explosive
Yeah.
and the construction, the noise and everything can discomfort people. Unfortunately, we cannot give you like a 2-year waiting phase for everyone to go out. We can give you a 6 months transition period in which we bring all the equipment to the site, in which there will be no construction, no dynamite, no explosions, and you can prepare the people to go. That is what we can give you, a 6 month transition period, if that helps you.
So that's 6 months, including the lands will be ready for them to move with the fund, or just to give them a notice?
I mean, to give them the notice firstly, to check if they're willing to move on their own. And if not, the ones nearest to the dam wall
Yeah.
will of course be prioritized and will be moved immediately before the construction begins.
I mean, like the dam is really big, so that we will try gradually build the dam. It's not like boom and explosive like all the land.
Yeah, no, I was
Yeah.
wondering because of air quality and the contamination that will happen when you're blowing up all these.
So, but like with explosive, like we just use like gradually, not like 100 like times at the same time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
a 6 month,
No.
I know you're not agreeing, but 6 months, sounds okay to assess. I think you may need, more than 6 months' time, because although the dam is your project also has a lot of sub pieces. So the relocation aspect is part of your project, it has to be part of your plan. I don't want to think of the relocation as something entirely separate, which is what it's beginning to sound like, because it has to be involved within your timeline. You have to be concerned with moving your people and whether or not you're going to bring it there. So I think bringing in the equipment and stuff and assessing the line without construction is fine. But I think that 6 months is a little bit like short.
How much time would you
for
need?
time. He's
What would
asking
you-
for a minimum of 2 years to inform 4.5 million people. If you think you can do 4.5 million people, or at least an area in 6 months,
Well,
that-
but I think we're a
lot.
little talking by side of each other. We will not relocate all of the people.
no, I'm talking
At
about
the same time.
assessment and then begin the prioritization. So assessing assessing the people who are nearest to the dam zone, and all around, and people who are in direct impact zone. So,
Exactly.
right, Boyne, whatever, and relocating them first. And on top of that, ensuring that the area that they're relocating to is safe and ready for them to move into. I don't think that can be completed in 6 months. I think that will take a bit longer than 6 months.
The issue with the 2 years is that will prolong the entire project by 2 years, so making it 19 years.
Well, you can start notice them before you even start, right? If you're
I
ready,
mean-
the plan is ready, so.
I guess we can push it as far as a year, but no longer than that.
Okay. For only the nearest people near the dam, right?
For assessing and the nearest people prioritization to be moved.
And what's the
Exactly.
full
Yeah,
plan
one
to
different.
relocate the whole people?
You
The whole
said 3
people,
years
yes.
was the, said 3 years was for the rest of the construction.
I mean, we said that the wall will be around 14 years and then another 3 years for the
No, I
reason to
meant
fill.
when you were talking about the
So-
people.
Exactly, so, I mean, in the end,
Well, he said
We can
the
take-
first 3 years will be
Oh, sorry, I
totally,
didn't.
will be totally recruit all the people.
Yeah, we were planning to do that in overall time of 3 years
Okay.
to ensure the safety of the people staying there.
And can we reduce that for 2 years?
I don't think so, because based on our projection to move all the citizens in that area, we cannot take 2 years. It's not enough.
you also have to understand we have to build new housing and everything. It's
Yeah,
not
sure.
something you can do overnight.
The project goes on both lines. Meanwhile, we are building the new infrastructure, we have to start with the gap to move the people.
Okay, so the agreement is first year to assess and relocate those with priority.
Exactly.
And then over a 3-year time period, we will relocate all.
Yes.
Okay. The next is the wildlife relocation that you guys mentioned very on in the beginning with the, our endangered species, our endangered animal and plant species. And the one that you mentioned was our river dolphin that may be facing extinction with this. Is that an immediate
So
cost
the-
that you guys are taking on, or what's gonna be the agreement with that?
So our thinking here was to relocate the dolphins further upstream and test different rivers along the mountain trail.
Mhm.
What do we call it?
Yeah, on the mountain rivers.
Yeah, like
Right.
different mountain rivers. within
Prior to
the-
moving the dolphin?
Yeah, of course,
Yes,
we have to
no, we're
find.
not gonna.
Yeah,
Yes.
please.
And see if there's any suitable other rivers we can relocate them in, possibly also extending them as they are a very rare species, extending them to other habitats which would be beneficial for the dolphins and humanity. For the duration of this construction, the river will be diverted. So during this diversion, the dolphins can still exist in that river. They will just take a slightly different path, but it should not impact them as much. Our plan is to relocate them further upstream in the long term. And we hope they feel well in that water. It should,
I hope
It should
they
work.
do. My concern is with the dolphin specifically, is that they're very sensitive creatures to sound. So much so that you can actually kill the dolphin before it even faces extinction, just by the loud explosives and stuff. So my question is, how soon do you expect to do the wildlife relocation? Because you're dealing with a creature that is sensitive to the sounds of your explosives.
Well, we think that our biologist will need around 3 to 6 months to find the exact place where to fit the new dolphin. So this concern shouldn't happen in reality, because if we are able to relocate the dolphin before the explosives start to operate in that area, we will be able to save the species.
So
we will
I-
hope in the 1 year we've given you to assess the land and everything, to do that
All of us.
simultaneously. Sorry?
All of us, because you will also
I
be
mean, yes,
assessing the land.
of course.
Yeah.
So we hope to do it during the same time period.
Okay, so during that first year, we will work with
Exactly.
relocation. And I assume that we can kind of even maybe put a net in place, so make sure they don't get into the area, if not just.
I mean, we'll divert the entire
yeah.
river going somewhere else. And of course, we'll put into place, and we've spoken to the Sea Aquarium, the marine force of our military.
We can't talk about tanks, that's unhealthy.
Sorry?
You're gonna put them in a tank.
We're not putting it in a tank, but
Not
it's a
a tank.
sanctuary.
No.
Go to the tank, I'm against wildlife.
It is an option that we will also consider to
Yeah.
ensure the short-term survival of
Yeah.
the species. Of course, we see that it's not a long-term option, however, for a short while, it might be necessary.
Okay, so 3 to 6 months, your biologist will be testing the waters, for getting ready for relocation. In the meantime, we will be diverting from the river and fencing off the area. And
And
this
there's
is
also-
all to be fixed, or the wildlife relocation is to all happen within that first year as well.
Yeah.
That is the dream. Our last point, is the solar powered fields, again, that we are supposed to be having at the same time as this construction. Will you begin construction and then during the time period, at least within the first, I'd say give within the first 5 years notice of
Well,
how
they-
that, at least one.
They said gonna provide extra fund for people to put their own solar panels
on
to
their
generate.
homes.
I mean, not necessarily extra fund, we said we encourage
They
people
encourage it.
Yeah.
to place them.
And I said how, because we're a little poverty low. But,
We hope that these, also these new jobs, which are being created during the construction phase, after the construction phase, will lift the standard of living of the region to also boost their wealth in the long term.
will
It
you
is
be
also a
funding,
development project.
will you be funding those jobs in US dollars or in our local currency? It's also a very good question.
Wow, the
I mean,
activity.
Your project is estimated to be 13.75 US, which is approximately 148 in our local currency.
I mean, we will reimburse and provide funds in the local currency.
Okay, just to make sure if you can afford US solar panels in the local currency. No, I'm asking, that's a good
I mean-
point.
It's
Okay,
fine,
so the solar panel, the solar power fields, you're
We're-
funding.
We're gonna buy Chinese solar panels, it's fine.
Okay, just like.
No, I don't have anything to agree to.
Yeah.
Well, they said it's out of the region, so they're gonna build.
They
the
will
solar
happen
panels
out of the region,
yeah.
and within the first 5 years, can we say that you will at least have one field built?
Yeah.
You're funding it, some extensive solar power things, you're
Yes,
funding it.
but I mean, it's not really
Yeah.
of your concern that much. Will not impact your
isn't my
region at
concern.
all. And the only thing that you could be or should be
Yeah.
concerned of is that you will have a stable electricity.
Yeah.
He's concerned with his
Forest.
region, I'm concerned with all various energy sources and wildlife. So I'm asking.
So, but like solar panel is like green energy?
No, I like it, I just want
Yeah.
to know how soon that is going to happen, because it is being funded at the same time, and you're.
Yes, because
it's an
like-
extensive project.
I think like the solar panel will like support for the dam. Yeah, support
Okay,
electricity
so
for the
outside
dam.
areas,
Yeah.
it's gonna happen in other regions, the
Yeah.
construction.
Yeah.
And can we say that at least in the 5 years, you're going to build one field?
Yes, of course.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not that complex, you just.
Yeah.
I hope not.
No. But unfortunately, that is not very much of my field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make it work.
Do you guys have any other questions or concerns?
Oh, no,
So I think like we should conclude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like
do we all agree?
we will build the Siktan Dam and the Hoover Dam. What now like what funded $200,000 for the museum?
Yes.
Yeah. What thing 6 months?
6 months prior.
Yeah. And like we will like notification for the nearest people 1 year right off. The project will run, and within 3 years starting from the project, like we move all the people.
Mm-hmm.
And like we need 3 to 6 months to test the water
Mm-hmm.
and relocated the dolphin within 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And with 5 years solar panel.
You will build the solar panels outside the region, and you will build you will complete the first solar panel field within the 5 years of your project.
And consider more opportunity job for the local people.
Yes.
Yes.
And it was your request that you have these experts on duty whenever you
Next
need
to
us
us.
to assist. Yes, sir.
Cool, so we agreed.
We have agreed. You
Perfect.
have your dam.
Thank you for
Okay.
coming.